Uh, the housekeeper set the table and she brought us some very fancy silver plate. So when he when he went to bed, suddenly he he decided to steal the silver plate and ran outside, but he was captured by someone and the bishop told me he wasn't not he didn't steal the plate, just the bishop gave him for a present. So when he went outside, he go to some he went outside and he was very he realized his bad things to do, so he bought God and he decided himself to be a nice person. That's first chapter summary. Wow, it's very difficult. I read the book. I will start. One evening in October 1815, a man set foot in the small town of Digny. He was wearing a dirty, ragged clothes and carrying a large knapsack on his back. He stopped by at the town hall where the strangers had no to report when they arrived. Then he trotted into an inn nearby. "What can I do for you?" asked the innkeeper. "Lodging and something to eat," said the man. "I can pay." "In that case, you are welcome," said the innkeeper. As the stranger dropped into a chair by the fire, the innkeeper wrote a note. "Take this to the town hall," he whispered the kitchen boy. Minutes later, the boy returned and handed a note to the innkeeper. He frowned as he read it. He approached the stranger and said, "You can stay here." "Why?" said the stranger. "I have money." "I know who you are. I can't serve a convict. I'm a free man. I can pay in advance if you want. Leave in." "Leave my inn," said the innkeeper angrily. The stranger picked up his knapsack and left. 19 years before, the man had been an honest, hard-working young lumberjack. After losing his job, he stole a loaf of bread to feed his sister's hungry children. He was caught and sentenced to 5 years in prison. 4 times he had attempted to escape, and 4 times he had failed. Each time his sentence increased. Now he was 46 years old and he had recently been released from Toulon prison. His name was Jean Valjean. Night was falling and it was bitterly cold. He was thirsty, hungry, and exhausted from walking all day. He tried every inn in the town, but no one would let him stay. Finally, He gave up and lay down on a freezing stone bench near a church. "I'll sleep here," he thought. "I can't walk any further tonight." Just then, an old man came out of the church and said, "You can sleep here if you don't have anywhere to go. Knock there. They will help you." She pointed to a small house across the street. It was the house of Miriam, the bishop of Digne, who lived simply and gave all his money to the poor. He owned nothing valuable except some silverware he had inherited from his great aunt. John knocked, and the door was opened by an old man about 75 years old age. How may I help you?" said the bishop with a smile. "A good woman told me to come here," said John. "I'm starving and exhausted, but because I was a convict, no one will let me stay. I have a yellow passport that says I'm a dangerous man. Will you let me stay? I can pay." John waited for the man to tell him to leave, but instead the bishop invited John inside. "This is God in the house," said the bishop. "You're welcome to share everything we have." "What, really? You will let me stay?" said John in confusion. "You're human, sir." Hesitantly he stepped inside. The housekeeper set the table with the silver plates on the white cloth and lit candles in silver candlestick sticks. Then she brought supper of soup, bacon, and mutton, a fresh cheese, and bread. The bishop politely asked John to sit beside him at the table, and as soon as the bishop finished saying grace, John ate hungrily until he could eat no more. After supper, the bishop showed John to guest room. No sooner had John gone to bed than he fell asleep. At 2 in the morning, John awoke and had trouble falling asleep again because the bed was uncomfortable. Suddenly, a thought flashed through his mind. The bishop's silver! He had seen the housekeeper placing it in the cupboard beside the bishop's bed. I could sell it for 200 francs, or perhaps even more," he thought. He rose to his feet and quietly opened the door to the bishop's room. The bishop lay asleep on his back, breathing peacefully. As John reached the bedside, a ray of moonlight lit up the bishop's gentle face. There was something divine and serene about it. He looked like a sleeping god, thought John. "I shouldn't steal from him." But he stood up a moment, gazing in awe at the sleeping man. Then he moved quickly past them back to the cupboard. He grabbed the silver plates and soup ladle, put them into his knapsack, and fled through the window into the darkness. The next day, 4 policemen arrived at the bishop's house. 3 of them had John by the collar. The fourth, a police inspector, advanced toward the bishop and gave a military salute. "Bishop," he said. "Oh, here you are," said the bishop to John. "I'm so glad to see you again, but I gave the candlestick too. Why didn't you take it down?" John looked at him in stunned disbelief. Not only had the bishop forgiven his crime, but he was also giving John his precious silver candlestick. Do you know this man, sir? Asked the police inspector. We stopped him because he looked suspicious. Then he arrested him because he had a knapsack full of silverware, which we thought he had stolen. You've made a mistake, said the bishop. Let him go. The police released John and went away. My friend, said the bishop quietly to John, take these candlesticks too. Trembling with fear, John put the candlesticks in his knapsack. The bishop continued, with them I bought your soul and given it to God. Use this wealth wisely to make yourself an honest man. All that day, John wandered about the desert plain. One desert plain. He was possessed by a variety of new sensation. Memory of his years in prison came into his mind, and he was overcome with anger. Why had God given him such a hard life? At the same time, he felt a tenderness that he had not known for 19 years. At sunset, he was sitting in the shade of a bush when a boy walked by, tossing a coin. The boy missed the coin and it rolled toward John. Without thinking, John put his foot over it. Sir, said the boy, my franc is under your foot. Please give it to me. Get lost, screamed John. A look of terror came into the boy's eyes. When John started shouting at him again, the boy turned and ran away. An instant later, John realized what he had done. Oh my God, he cried. I'm a monster. I've stolen from a child. He set out in the direction in which the boy had run. He prayed of God forgiveness as he searched. But the boy was gone. John broke down and wept bitterly for a long time. He remembered what the bishop had said to him. He vowed to God that he would be like a bishop and fill his life with good deeds. For the first time, John felt truly free.